the car prices ever go down.
They're never going down.
No.
I think leasing has never made more sense than it does right now.
So I think the point that's not obvious is the future. The only thing that really is certain is uncertainty.
Hey, welcome into Inside the Lease. I'm Brian Estridge, and we are glad that you're with us here as we discuss with a couple of buddies from D&M Auto Leasing. I think what we should do, and by the way, Kelly and Chase are here, and your names are at the bottom of the screen. I don't know why I say it every time, but one of the things that I think we should talk about is today's climate, where we are economically, and how a lease fits into that. Like, is it? Because you guys are always tracking the market and what's happening. Is leasing a good strategy right now for folks, for consumers?
It's perfect timing to talk about the customer who's coming in the market from COVID. So think back, COVID, supply crisis, right? No one could get a chip. So they cut the supply down, and supply goes way down, demand, obviously the supply demand deal. So used car value shot through the roof. So there's a bunch of customers that had, it's like a stock that you own that just goes through the roof. People who had negative equity or just break even, they had a ton of equity. So we had customers that were coming in every other day with just ridiculous amounts of equity. So you had that, you had the lowest rates that we've ever had in company history. And then vehicle prices did not skyrocket initially. So you had ridiculous amounts of equity and ridiculously low rates. So a bunch of people bought cars through that period of time. And then the next 3 years, there's a ton of inflation. So we have people that are driving we just pick a Grand Cherokee because that's one that seems to come up. The exact same trim model car that they bought in COVID, same equipment, same options, same package, same everything, was like $12,000 more. I think 12. Anyways, over 10. Now, the market's stabilized or normalized, not stabilized. The market's still really strong on trade-ins right now, but not historical all-time highs, whatever.
Right.
So people have negative equity again. The same car they got is over 10 grand more, and then the rate that they got were historical all-time lows. Maybe they got a rate in the threes. Now rates are 2 or 3 points higher than that. So they're going back to the dealership without the equity for the same car being 10 grand more. Now maybe they have negative equity, and then the rate's higher. And so what that is causing is more and more people financing cars even longer because no one wants their payment to go up, especially with everything else that costs more. Cars, obviously, a larger portion, a line item in your budget. So what's happening is they're going in, they're falling in love with the car, and then they go start working their deal, and the payments are significantly higher. And so the answer to that at most places you buy cars, let's just go longer term. Problem with that is people are not keeping cars any longer. So they're going in a situation where now they're paying a higher rate, which means they're paying the principal down less quickly. They're paying a higher payment anyway, and they're committing to a longer term. So they're digging deeper holes. So we're seeing more and more people that are significantly upside down. So in my opinion right now, with the fact that people are looking for ways to mitigate expenses without just sacrificing your future ability to trade out like you want, I think leasing has never made more sense than it does right now, specifically for those reasons. I mean,
You see some 84-month deals out
I'm seeing 96.
96.
96,
there.
yes.
I couldn't agree more. You think about
And they don't keep any longer.
think about where we are in comparison to years ago. We're in a higher rate environment than we were 5, 10, 15 years ago. Inflation has creeped into the market, and the average vehicle transaction is right around 50,000. New vehicle transaction is right around $50,000. And so, does leasing make sense in today's market? Like Chase said, everything's more expensive, and when vehicles appreciate, when interest rates go up, leasing gets more in vogue. I mean, people want to lease because you save money on the payments. And so, like Chase says, everyone's looking to save money. With leasing, you only pay for the part of the car that you use. So naturally, the payments are going to be much less expensive on a lease than paying for the full car. But then there's the other side. So that's the obvious. I mean, that's the obvious. It's probably why we're talking about
Right.
it, because it's
Yeah.
the best time, and it really is. There's never been a better time. But think about this. That's the obvious point. What's I think the point that's not obvious is the future. The only thing that really is certain is uncertainty. I mean, you have gas prices going up and down. You have EVs or ICE vehicles. What's it going to be? If it's all EVs or all hybrids, what does that make the value of mine? In other words, if you've got a
I have
Honda
a
Accord,
Tesla, and if Musk tweets, used car values drop.
that's right.
It's like,
And so if
it's
you've got a
unbelievable.
car that's an ICE vehicle and it gets 30 miles per gallon, but now the new vehicle comes out down the road, whether it's EV or hybrid, and now all of a sudden the miles per gallon is 50 or 60, what does that do to the value of yours?
Yeah.
So if you're in the middle of a long-term finance contract and you've been playing that deal where you finance it long, trade in the middle, start building negative equity, and then the market adjusts, you're exposed towards negative equity and higher payments even more. Whereas in a lease, the liability benefits of leasing are that the bank takes responsibility for the depreciation, that you hold all the cards. If you want to trade, you can do it. If you want to buy it at the end, you can do it. Or if you want to turn it back in, you can. But the customer holds the choice, but the bank holds the responsibility for the depreciation. So let's say down the road, if gas prices go up, if interest rates go up, if we're in some sort of a recession, or all of the possibilities that affect the value of assets, leasing protects against that. So if the question is now a good time to lease, and does leasing make sense? And the answer is vehicles are more expensive than they've ever been in our history. And the future I think the future is exciting, but it's uncertain, and leasing provides certainty. So if you have guarantees down the road that you don't get hit financially, and it saves you every month with less down, I would say that I would agree with Chase. There's
But I
never been a
think
better
that people
never been a
aren't
better
even,
time to lease.
people are calling more now, and they're looking for alternative ways to buy a car. And, this is my 18th year here. And so I can remember people were mostly in 60-month loans whenever I started. And the 72,
48, yeah.
48, some 48, but mostly 60. And then there'd be some people that would do 72. But it's almost like they kind of knew that they shouldn't, because you can, whenever somebody calls in and if we're submitting their deal, you can see exactly when they trade, like
Right.
28 months, 36, you can look and see a pattern up and down the bureau. So then 72 used to be like,
Fringe.
you felt like maybe you're kind of doing something bad, staying out late after curfew.
Right.
And
I don't know anything about that, I know.
yeah. And so, but 84, I think everybody in their gut knows that we're like flirting with half as long as people finance their homes.
Homes, yeah.
And then now we're seeing 96. It's like, where does that end? And the sad thing about that is rather than slowing someone down, which is part of our process, we want to slow customers down. Yes, we have low payments, 100%. But sometimes we're talking people into paying the right payment. The right payment is the payment that matches how you're going to use the car. So we want people eyes wide open, and we want to challenge. Everybody's like, I want to do a 2-year lease. I want to do a 3, because that's what they hear on TV. But if the advertised lease special at a dealership was 41 months, everyone will be asking for 40. Just whatever you see the most, right? Is what they're going to do. So people are calling in for that, and we can do that. But there's a lot of people that are fine keeping a car longer. So when you really match up to what they want to do, and make sure that we're kind of educating them along the way, making sure that they get it for the first time. And people are always like, man, no one's asked me this question before. No, I don't want it to. I didn't think about that. I do want to be able to get out of it in a good spot. There's going to be a lag on people. This 84-month deal is going to hurt. It's going to hurt people. And
I think it already is.
But
there's
they don't really. There's a lot of negative
right
equity
now, and it's getting worse.
But the people that are doing it, it depends on, is this the first one that they've done or not? Because you can do it once or twice, but then the number gets so big,
Sure.
And then every time you have a more negative, because it typically doubles every time you do it, you're more likely to do it again.
Yeah.
and to get pushed to a car that maybe has a big rebate on it that isn't moving very good, that people don't really want, but it's easier without having to put a big much of money down to get that car. So then they get pushed to not the car they really want on even longer term, rolling a bunch of negative equity, which means they then want out of that car even sooner than they normally do. And then, so it's
so the guy or gal who's watching this right now, and they're in it, and they know they did wrong. They did
Yeah.
the 84, not did it wrong,
Yeah.
but you know what I'm saying. They had to, whatever reason, not judging. Can you help break the cycle though?
100%.
Yeah, there's no better place to retire negative equity than in a lease, and that's what we specialize in. Like Chase said, when you go into a traditional dealership and you sign a long-term finance contract and you're going to trade and keep the same trade cycle, which most people do, it's basically signing an agreement with complete disregard to where am I going to be in the future, and it leaves people exposed, and they're exposed to negative equity, and so. Like we've said, when you sign those long-term finance contracts and you trade in the middle, the only thing that you really own is the negative balance to the bank. And every time you do it, because when you go back and you try to do the same thing, like Chase said, you can do it a couple times because you're going to put a little bit more money down. Maybe you go from 72 to 75 or 72 to 84. You're going to make a higher payment, but you squeeze all that in and you do it the second time.
Merry-go-round stops.
It never stops. Every time you do it, you end up stacking new negative equity on top of old negative equity. You pay interest on the entire amount, and it basically doubles every time you do it. So we've had people in basically starter cars that have $15,000, $16,000, $17,000, worth of negative equity, and we look at it and think, how did you even get this financed up? Who did this with you? How did you? How did you? Well, and people do it. They all did it. They all got there. But with a lease, because you do have a guarantee at the end, it doesn't matter how much you roll in. You'll hear people say in the market, I think most people know, if you have a bunch of negative equity, get into a lease. It's a good idea. The reason they say it's a good idea is because no matter what's going on with the market, you have a guaranteed residual at the end. You have a future value that we've guaranteed. So no matter if you roll in, whatever the dollar figure, this amount or this amount, you're going to end up at the same residual, the same guarantee at the end. It's just your depreciation curve is going to be a little bit different. But with a lease, no matter what's going on, you get to the end of that lease, you've retired all of your negative equity, and then you can go clean into the next vehicle, if that makes sense.
And people that are in a bad spot, one thing that we do is, we can customize a term. So we don't just push everybody into a 3-year lease. And so sometimes you'll have somebody that is in a bad spot, right? So number one, we can do any make or model. So we know the cars with the discounts that are going to be the ones that are easier to absorb the deficiency without having to come out of pocket with a, $10,000.
Sure.
But because we can customize the term, sometimes you got a customer that wants to trade every 3 years. And we're like, look, here's what it costs to do it right. But at 3 years, the negative's gone, never deal with it again. Maybe they can't swing that payment. So maybe they do a 4.5-year deal where it makes it a little easier to absorb the negative equity. But at 4.5, it's all gone. And the game plan is go into this deal eyes wide open, knowing at the end of this thing, I can wipe my hands of my negative equity. And then next time we shorten it back up. So our agents, we have a lot of tenure. I think average tenure is now over 10 years. Average management tenure is over 20. And so we've seen a lot of different scenarios, and we know how to help someone navigate that to try to find the right thing. Because sometimes, look, what you want isn't going to happen here or anywhere else. But we can do a lease, we can do a loan, we can do any kind of car, we can do any term. And so it's like we all have our ideal thing that we want, but after that, it's like, okay, well then if we can't do that, then here are our options.
Yeah.
Out of those, which one sounds the best? And we kind of funnel someone down to the best possible
Yeah.
decision.
You're thinking about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not just the deal.
We don't care. We do not care what car they get.
Yeah.
I don't care what payment they
Think about
pay.
them. I want to go back because we kind of started this with, is leasing a good strategy?
Yep.
And you said something, and you guys have told me before that, hey, one of the simple things about leasing is you pay for the part of the car that you drive. That you're not paying for the full amount. You're paying for the part that you drive. I was thinking about that in terms of you saying that prices are as high as they've ever been.
Yep.
The car prices ever go down?
They're never going down.
No.
And
So I mean, that's what makes sense. And I mean, they're just going to get more and more expensive.
technology, safety features, highly contented vehicles, inflation.
Yeah.
I had a Tahoe. I remember going to college. When I got a scholarship, I got a vehicles like my reward.
Go. Why did you get a scholarship?
Lot of reasons.
No, but
Lot of reasons.
you played football.
Played football, yeah.
Okay.
But a Tahoe was like a nice Tahoe was $34,000, and we did a deal last week, and it was like almost $100,000
The market's fundamentally changed.
For a Tahoe.
for a loaded out Tahoe can almost touch $100,000.
Oh, yeah, that is.
I mean, it's like 3x. What?
you
I
got
mean,
it.
I'm not that old.
Yeah, right.
I'm
Well,
not like you guys.
come on now. Come on now.
But if you think about it, it's like he's saying. It used to a Tahoe or Suburban, or we're saying those cars. It's not just Chevrolets. It's all
Sure.
makes.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
models. They're
yeah.
all
Yeah.
they've all gone up in price. You used to be able to get a Sequoia, a Tahoe, a Expedition, whatever for 35,000. Those customers could put $5 or $10,000 down, have a $500 payment. Those days are gone because the vehicle's two and a half times as expensive as what it used to be 15 years ago.
Sure.
And so with leasing, you mentioned paying for the part of the car that you use. When you have that guaranteed value at the end, you're only paying for the difference between the cost of the car and that guaranteed value, which is the residual.
What it's going to be
And
worth, yeah.
What it's going to be worth. So that depreciation is only for a specified period of time, which obviously that's less. Those are less dollars, so it makes leasing makes a lot more sense. I mean, if you think about it, let's say you had a family of, like it's my wife and I, right? We don't need a 10-bedroom house. We wouldn't if we were going to move for whatever reason.
Right.
We wouldn't go shop for a 10-bedroom
No.
house. We don't need 10 bedrooms.
Yeah.
So why would you finance a vehicle for 84 or 96 months when you're not going to keep it that long? And there is a 95% probability that you're going to end up with bad debt at trade time. And you got to deal with it. And
And the car drops the same. Can't stress that enough.
the car,
Whether you buy it,
Buy it,
or you lease
cash,
it.
take a
so
big
does the
bag
car
of
ever
cash.
call your loan and say, hey, let's work this out. Let's meet at the end.
Yeah.
The car drops the exact same no matter how you finance.
And all we do in the lease is make the payment match how you're going to use the car.
And that saves people money.
Yeah.
That's what saves people money. That's why our business grows, because we save people money.
and you make it easy.
Yep.
Because it's easy at D&M.
We make leasing easy.
I've heard that. Yes.
We should make a jingle out of that.
Yeah, that'd be good.
How would it go if we did?
Yes. Can you sing
We make lease.
it? See, I knew he would do it. I knew he would do it.
I kind of
Actually, I have some friends believing that I was one of the people singing on the jingle. Like,
Well, you probably told him it's something.
well, I did tell them that.
Yeah, well,
But they believed it.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Shows who he hangs.
Yeah, of course, yes. Another
I
edition.
went to Flagler's.
Yeah. Inside the Lease. Thanks for joining us.